Welcome to the Great Wrestling Debate right here on YouTube. We got Wayne Kircher alongside me, Tyler Werner. And we're getting, it's now August 6th, which means SummerSlam is right around the corner.
I'd say less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, less than 2 weeks away. We only got one episode of Brawl left until then. I guess 2 SmackDowns if WWE even cares about SmackDown.
Yeah.
Now here we spoiled last week. I guess the main event match of last week's SmackDown.
Yeah.
Where Christian won, and did you see SmackDown at all?
A little bit.
How about Total Divas?
No, I did not watch.
You stayed away from that.
Though I did watch a clip on YouTube. Apparently, John Cena and Daniel Bryan were shirtless and they were chopping wood.
Yeah.
And the Bellas were just amazed at how strong. Well, I should say John Cena was chopping wood. Daniel Bryan, who looks like a lumberjack, apparently just cannot chop wood. And then the Bellas tried to chop wood, coming out doing their best Daisy Duke impersonations, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wearing like
Yeah.
showing their titties and like shorter shorts, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much their best Daisy Duke impersonation.
Yeah, isn't that nice? It seems like they place more emphasis on Total Divas lately than on SmackDown. You know, when you watch Raw, they seem to show more.
On a funny note, though, Total Divas has brought in higher ratings than TNA Impact.
Yeah, I did see the on the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show that mentioned that. But yeah, I mean, I guess the only event, big thing that happened on SmackDown was what we kind of spoiled here last week.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess Christian's gonna. It appears he's gonna face Del Rio. I mean, going to Raw now.
Yep.
Del Rio essentially he ditched Ricardo.
I had a feeling this was gonna happen eventually. Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna happen this fast.
Yeah.
And I even got nervous. I thought the way he beat up Ricardo, I thought, oh crap! Well, Ricardo just came back from suspension. Maybe he finally got that pink slip and he's finally gone. But no wrestling site is reporting that he's been released from the company yet. So for me, this is all storyline. This is going to eventually lead to maybe Ricardo Alberto feud. Because like I said earlier, Ricardo is a wrestler.
Yeah.
He actually has wrestling in development. He actually supposedly he's very good. So of course they're not going to. But the problem there is not have to make us believe that he can wrestle, and unless of course he's going to play like a Joseph Park gimmick, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing out there.
Yeah, and I wonder if like this is like maybe at SummerSlam if he's going to try to screw Del Rio out of the championship or something as like revenge for the beatdown.
I don't know. I did think about that now. I mean originally I thought it was an easy win for Del Rio against Christian. I thought it was going to be a no-brainer, but now I'm starting to think maybe they may actually put the belt on Christian. But why not? It's not even a main event title anyway anymore. It's probably going to be like the 4th match on the card.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like Christian as it's better him having the World Heavyweight Championship than just kind of being in the mid card and not really doing anything. But yeah, I mean the main focus of Raw, the opening promo with Daniel Bryan, and of course the whole makeover thing. What do you think of the?
Honestly, when I heard about the makeover, and the Solid Monster kind of was thinking about this too, which was that I was thinking of Stone Cold Steve Austin segment that's similar to that back in the Attitude Era. Vince McMahon, too. In fact, even like when Stephanie brought it up and Vince kind of like gave like that look of, and it said, "Well, good luck with that, honey." Like he was, that almost made me think of, he's thinking of when he tried to do the same thing with Austin, make him a corporate champion and that, and Austin ended up like pretty much saying like in his face and pretty much saying start saying you never. I hope you join me wearing a suit because this is the last thing you're gonna see me wearing a suit ever again. Then ends up ball tapping him.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't stun him, Tyler. He ends the segment by ball tapping Vince. Like he just goes and just smacks his balls pretty much, and Vince sells it like a pro, like a champ, pretty much.
Yeah, and of course he had some interesting shots that he took on John Cena a little bit. And then him and obviously Vince coming out and
the whole entertainer wrestler thing. It's been done a gazillion times before, but since this is
right now,
since this is coming out of Bryan Danielson's mouth, I think it was actually very well received. The whole firing thing I thought was funny. then later on Cena had to like ruin that whole deal then pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh well, that'd be true because I would never work another that company again.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I just do movies. That's it. I just do movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely get to the...
And how dare Darren Bryan say he'd work for Jack Squat before in front of 30 people, That's like we're going back to the Arena Football League. I say, okay, John, but I think he's pointing out, like, are you telling me that if you got unceremoniously fired, like, you just got randomly fired, and you still want to go back to the WWE, but you want to still work your craft, you're not going to work on the independent circuit?
Yeah.
Is John Cena above the independent circuit?
Yeah, I definitely have some criticisms of John Cena's promo then later, but yeah, I mean, and then of course the whole they bring out the barber chair to to shave Daniel Bryan's beard,
Wade Barrett. Who knew the man was a barber?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
see, originally when I heard about a barber, I'm like, oh God, Brutus Beefcake's coming back tonight.
Yeah,
one of Hulk Hogan's mates, old mates back from the '80s. But now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, Wade Barrett. Oh well, I guess this can work.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a barber.
They're not. Yeah, and unfortunately, they're not really doing anything big with Wade Barrett right now. So I mean, the fact that Vince had him come out there and kind of
get half of his like beard and stash shaved off pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's. I don't know if they're just gonna make a joke out of him or what, but and then of course. Daniel Bryan, as he's leaving the stage, takes off.
The beard is here. Yes,
the beard. Instead, pull. That was great.
I mean, this isn't the first. This isn't the first time. I mean, Rock had that boots to asses, and
then Punk
did that knees to faces.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of hope a lot of guys keep doing that. Like, just make fun of somebody else's like catchphrase or something, and kind of do a parody of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and it's it's another T-shirt now. You wonder if how it'll set. The thing is though, if you buy the T-shirt, obviously, hopefully you have a beard.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's the whole problem.
Yeah,
with
else
this T-shirt.
it's like for what beard? The beard is here.
I kind of like the fear the beard. No. Respect the beard.
Yeah, that too. Respect the beard.
But at the same time, kind of based on what they're saying is that you kind of need a beard for that shirt too. Because how can you respect the beard if you're not wearing a beard?
Yeah, right. Yeah, same with like the champ is here. Like if the belt wasn't, or if somebody just bought the T-shirt and they didn't have a belt there, it's like, what does that?
Well, he's clearly pointing at his penis then.
Yeah, then that's like there's no belt there. Then
hey ladies, the champ is here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, anyways, I'm trying to think between that and later on with the John Cena promo. I'm trying to think what happened in between that. Let's see, Mark Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, they had
Ryback.
Yeah, what are they doing here? Like, Ryback's like taking after Fandango here, like walking out of the match. They can't be doing that.
And then he's going. I'm smart. I'm being smart. Yeah. I outsmarted Mark Henry.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Last week they have him bullying a guy backstage, and then
I like that segment.
Yeah,
that
me
was
too.
A great segment.
That was I mean, but then they have him go from that and being in a tables match with John Cena.
I wish you would have just did that instead of doing a match. Just have him bully some other random guy backstage.
Yeah, and now this week they have him walking out from Mark Henry and like laughing about it. And it's like when you walk out from a match, it's like nothing to like smile and joke about it.
Yeah, I mean, come
on.
That's right. Well. Ryback's defense, there is no like ranking system for titles here. I mean, really, all he has to do is go be one of the champions, and he can get a title shot then, pretty much. Yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean, they can't.
So it's not like he's finally looking at this logic and going, "Wait, I don't need to win matches to get a title shot. I can just go beat up random people backstage, and I will eventually get a title shot that way." Yeah,
but I mean, if they want. If they want him to be elevated and really be a good main eventer for years to come, he's kind of been like a standstill lately, and having him walk out of a match for Mark Henry, it doesn't do him any favors right now, and especially when nobody really knows what he's going to do for SummerSlam. Although maybe now, the way it seems to be shaping out, I don't know. It seems like they kind of did with the Usos and Mark Henry. Mm-hmm. Teaming up and then maybe with Ryback walking out, maybe that's going to lead to them facing at SummerSlam.
Well, actually, I thought the Shield. That's the thing too. I was expecting the Shield to come down and beat up Mark Henry, but that didn't happen. So now I'm starting to think, is that feud dead? Because
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm saying.
well, you know, and there was no Big Show tonight, and everybody,
Right.
and there was rumors coming out of on most websites. Pretty much was that hey, Big Show still has not had. He's supposed to be nursing a knee, and he thought he was going to get medically cleared this week. Obviously, that it happened because if he was, he would have been on Raw.
On Raw, yeah.
So I guess they have one more week, or maybe they just scrapped the whole
It's like
Mark Henry
out.
Big Show against Shield feud, and I'm like, well, thank God, but at the same time, I kind of want the Shield featured on the show.
Yeah,
to some degree.
And you wonder if they'll get anything together for that, and still, and then the Usos then faced
the Real Americans.
Yeah, the Real Americans,
who
so
still are not coming out to Hulk Hogan's theme song.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you, WWE, you want to make money, you come to that theme song because. You know, who cares if it's an insult to Hogan? Who cares if people realize that? I mean, who cares really? It's if they're called Real Americans, they gotta come out to the song "Real Americans."
Yeah, yeah.
It just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and then I guess that led. Well, I don't know. You had the whole Divas match with Layla and Caitlyn. I don't know. I'm not really interested in any of. Not really that interested in that stuff.
Let's see.
What's going on?
Well, let's see. You had
Layla just trying to get attention.
Well, you had. Well, let's see. You had the. Wyatt family gets tons of funk.
Yeah.
Wyatt family still has the most awesome entrance.
Tons of funk. I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean.
Well, I knew this was the Wyatt family.
It's like, oh, okay, well, we know they're going to lose inside of a minute, and, surely enough, they kind of did.
Which is pretty impressive. This is Brodus Clay and Tenzai here, two big guys.
But they're like, two big guys.
The thing that stole it once again was the Bray Wyatt. Yeah, no, the two things
as of lately.
The two things that sold this though was the Bray Wyatt promo, which I still think is creepy, and is just perfect. And then you have Kane, kind of like I can't almost go back to his old demonic self again.
Yeah.
And they're calling it a Ring of Fire match. I already know what it is. It's going to be an Inferno match.
Yeah.
It's going to be fire around the ring, and what a perfect way for Bray Wyatt to get over. Just beat Kane at his own match, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that could be interesting.
Because if you notice, when he announces that Bray Wyatt isn't terrified, he's laughing maniacally and he's looking up to the heavens. Because I think we can pretty much come to the conclusion that Bray Wyatt is playing, I guess, some kind of like Christ-like figure, maybe.
So yeah,
that's coming across.
I don't know,
like some cult-like leader, pretty much.
I mean, I want to see. Yeah, I mean, I want to see just how him and Kane in an Inferno match goes. And then see how it goes.
What I'm kind of hoping is that even though it's called the Wyatt family, I'm kind of hoping that that's a cult-like being. Maybe they can recruit more people and kind of start like.
That's what people are suggesting.
I mean, really, I haven't seen a gimmick kind of go that route since the Straight Edge Society.
Because
even CM Punk admitted, like, he was kind of doing like a folk Jesus kind of gimmick with that, by telling people, if at any point, like, I think there was one point when we cut on SmackDown, it was like, if at any point people feel like, at home, feel like going to the TV and touching the TV screen, you feel like some power coming through you, by all means, do it.
Yeah.
And he said, he took those ideas from, like, watching Benny Hinn and all these televangelists late at night, and, some of these guys could be, power of Christ compel you,
Yeah. And then I guess from there that led us to the Cena promo. Which is I don't know. For some reason tonight he kind of had more of that chip on his shoulder kind of accent going. I don't know why. Sometimes he'll do a promo and it'll be all goofy, and then like
chip on his shoulder. He's the favorite in this match.
Yeah, but I mean
anybody.
But I mean he kind of like. The way he kind of like a gangster accent in some ways, and, like if you know what I mean, like the way he accented his words.
I think it's funny though. I mean, this is a negative to 3 Hour Raw. I thought the crowd was great at the beginning.
Yeah,
but I noticed that the cheers or any reaction got less and less as the show went on. Because when Cena came out, whatever very active crowd you had at the beginning was dead. It felt like like. I mean, it felt like it was going to be a very pro Daniel Bryan crowd, and I still thought it was, but I felt like at this point a lot of people just started getting exhausted. And
I remember in the beginning, like, in the opening segment, like, people, like, really wanted to hear what Vince and, like, everyone was quiet because sometimes they wanted to really hear what they had to say.
Yeah.
And then they'd cheer when they needed to. But, like, then here you just got, like, a bunch of people talking, and because they're not... they're not going really silent at times because they really want to hear what Cena had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the.
I mean,
And he mentioned the whole thing about like he never changed, like throughout his career he always came out and been the same, the same
he
guy.
was. What?
If you remember.
Was it? What? I'm sorry. Does John not remember in development when he was called the? Was it the
prototype?
Prototype. Yeah. I mean, was that? Is he trying to say that he's still the prototype?
Yeah.
Then why not call yourself the prototype?
Or I mean, even when he would come out and he'd be doing his raps on people and.
That's what I'm saying.
He'd be a major,
What are you talking about? The same? Okay, yeah. In the last 5 years, maybe, or 6, 7 years. 7. I'll go 7 or 6 probably. You've been wearing the same, bright colored T-shirts and that.
Yeah.
And
it's been changing colors.
He's never been the same guy since day one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hell, when he debuted, he was this, baby face and just said, well, I run on ruthless aggression and that. He just wore like, the stereotypical like shorts and that and had like no character. Then he turned heel and played like this rapper, which was unique at the time.
It was, I mean, there was.
I mean, it was unique. They really never. I mean, I think they did rapper gimmicks in the past, but this one actually felt legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, Cena would actually come out and actually do legitimate rap.
His theme songs were rap songs.
But not that, he would do like freestyle contests with some of the guys too.
Yeah.
Like, there's like classic ones of him and Big Show and Kurt Angle.
Angle, yeah.
Like the freestyle rapping in it. So I mean, but to say that I've been the same guy since day one. Yeah, no. You might have been John Cena when you came in, but you were not John Cena today.
That we know that we've known. Yeah.
Because if you were, a lot of fans would have been like, who does this guy think he is here, thinking he's the big shot already in the company? He just debuted. Because really that's what I feel like all Cena's character is right now, is that I'm the top guy.
Yeah.
And to say, oh, well, that was my gimmick since the beginning. I walked in like, I owned the place. Like, what debut have you been watching?
Yeah.
In the beginning, all you did was play. I mean, as far as maybe being the underdog, you kind of played that off a lot of times because a lot of times when he was a heel, he'd face guys who people thought, oh, this guy's gonna lose because here's this guy in stupid baggy, shorts and,
or jean shorts.
Yeah, stupid baggy jean shorts, wearing wearing like old jerseys and that, like sports jerseys and that, and like a stupid cap on his head.
Big chain.
Yeah, a big chain because he's
the cap, of course, turned backwards most of the time.
Well, actually, I think at one point he came out. He was wearing like a headband at one point too, like a sweatband like on his forehead.
Yeah.
So for him to say I've been the same since day one, I don't know what he's looking at.
Right. Yeah. And then another thing, like he brings up. Like, well, there's like chants going on, you can't wrestle chants.
Yeah.
And he like starts talking about like, with those chants, he starts talking about like, I've been champion 11 times and I didn't, I never got lucky or anything. And it's like, well, it's not like they're saying like you're not a good, not
entertainer,
a high, rated main event superstar the past 8 years or whatever. They're saying that most of the time we watch you do like the same, the same few moves and everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, that too, and I don't think John's not a technical wrestler, and that's fine. Austin wasn't a technical wrestler. The Rock was a technical wrestler, and these guys had fine careers in that. And John's had great matches. I mean, CM Punk, I think, is still his best match. I'm talking about the Money in the Bank one. That's still, to this day, the best John Cena match I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Though I think this Daniel Bryan one could top that.
It could.
Because there's some who say Daniel Bryan is a better worker than CM Punk.
Yeah.
Even. So I don't know. We'll see what happens at SummerSlam with that.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. I do like the fact that even Bryan is acknowledging the fact that if he wants to beat John Cena, he's got to make him tap out.
Yeah.
So even Bryan is now acknowledging
what the fans are
the importance of not only beating John Cena, but how you beat him too. Yeah. Can really legitimize.
I wonder if that's setting everybody up for a major disappointment, or I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, the thing with it's like WWE like either thinks we're stupid or they're blind when they have Cena say, that I didn't get lucky 11-time champion, etc.
Well, no. I think WWE's problem is that even though they know this is their top guy, and even though Cena has said 100 million times that he does not care about the crowd chants are, Vince McMahon does care what the crowd chants are, because this does reflect on television.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the main concerns at WrestleMania was they did not want to see WrestleMania end with a chorus of boos towards John Cena, because this is their Super Bowl.
And they even played, and I remember they even played WrestleMania up like, oh, it's 50-50 crowd rocking Cena. And it's like more like 95-5, if you ask me. Like, everyone was chanting. Yeah.
That's the thing there too. I mean, like, I think the Someone's we brought that up there. It's a hell. I think even one time, like the Raw before WrestleMania, like Cena came out and Michael Cole's like, "This is 50-50 crowd," and Cole even got like criticized on the radio show.
Are you kidding me?
And Michael Cole's actually, I think even the same guy as John Cena. Cena's excuse is, well, a lot of my fans are little kids, so I think they got intimidated by the loud adults in the room. It's like, okay, well, that's a good excuse, but trust me, John, if they're there, we hear them on television just as well. You know, it's like you hear the deep voices, Cena sucks, and you hear like this little, "Let's go, Cena!"
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you can tell they're kids. By how tiny their squeaky voices are.
Yeah, and it's even more funny when they go to some arena and you hear, and it seems like maybe 10 kids are chanting "Let's go, Cena," and then you just get this. It seems like everybody else in the building, Cena sucks.
Look,
when they chant with the yes chants, everybody.
And look, Cena has said countless of times, and like I said, let's also keep in mind here, Cena is part of a lot of programs that WWE has never had, but I believe has really never been in contact with, and really no superstar has ever like Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
The guy's pretty much John Cena is pretty much the poster child for that whole program.
Yeah.
The Susan G. Komen Foundation, the breast cancer awareness. He's pretty much a sponsor for that. I mean, so he's not going to turn bad guy.
Yeah.
When you're involved
right now, at least.
Not right now. I mean, now, like I said, I think it was some former wrestler has like a podcast too brought it up. He says like, yeah, but Cena pretty much saying that how he thinks that because he turns bad guy, character turns bad, that people are going to turn it as, well, in real life he's a bad person.
Yeah.
Because, I'm telling you about that, I think he's brought like Al Pacino. I'm telling you, this one guy brought up on the radio show. He's like, well, that's like saying like Al Pacino. You tell me if he works for Susan G. Komen. You tell me that Susan G. Komen is going to drop him as a sponsor because Al Pacino in one movie decides to play a bad guy.
Yeah.
You tell me they're not going to say, well, no, they're going to say, no, he's acting.
Yeah.
This isn't Al Pacino in real life.
Yeah.
So even when Cena says, well, that's going to interpret maybe negatively in real life for me, it's like, aren't you just playing a character? I mean, yeah we get it. This is kind of you in real life in that. But okay, then do the opposite of you turn a bad guy. Don't play yourself then.
Yeah.
Play the complete opposite of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole point of WWE too is to suspend disbelief and get lost in the product. And I mean, and at the same time, everybody knows, who, real life.
Yeah.
How they, John Cena has all this stuff going on with, he just granted his 350th wish in the Make-A-Wish Foundation or whatever.
I mean, I'd say it too. He's granted the most wishes out of any celebrity in a landslide.
We're gonna know that.
Close.
Yeah. If he turns heel, it's not like we're gonna not know that. It's not it's so but.
I mean, but at the same time, I really want to turn this into. I really do not want to be like turn this into a John Cena bashing show because I really don't. I really hate people who do that. Yeah. It's like what does he turn heel at? It's like I can go a million times. I can show you how much money he brings into the company.
Right now, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that really, I think, because they're just the crowd reactions. There's nights when they feel like this is their top guy and he's getting booed out of the building.
Yeah.
This doesn't look, this doesn't look come across well for business. But as far as merchandise and bringing in the money,
that's the unfortunate reality.
John's beating everybody by a landslide at this stage in the game.
So, I mean, the lesson here, if you want, buy other people's merchandise. Don't buy...
Well, that's what I'm saying, too. I mean, the stupid guys who bought the Cena Suck shirts are like... Or have to be some of the stupid... Because it's like, that still counts that counts as merchandise towards John Cena.
Yeah.
I mean, that's money towards John Cena's pocket.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't like the guy, then don't buy his merchandise.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's...
I mean, that's like me being an Eagles fan, and I'm going to buy a Tom Brady jersey.
Yeah.
Because, and then out of curiosity, I'm going to put a tape over it and put Tom Brady sucks on it. I'm still a dumbass. Because I still bought a Tom Brady jersey, and it's still money going towards Tom Brady.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
But so the people who wear the Cena suck shirts are the stupidest
Yeah.
idiots, morons on the planet, because they don't understand the fact that that they're not really that they're not the solution. They're still part of the problem.
Yeah, I haven't seen as many of them since obviously for obvious, but because now you see, that shirt's not really a prominent seller anymore.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Oh, CM Punk.
Obviously, yeah, and then CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, first. Well, of course, it was a Curtis Axel match, but but then
hey, at least Curtis Axel's getting somewhat involved in this feud.
Yeah, yeah.
I am even impressed that they even let Curtis Axel stand right next to Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar after this.
Yeah, in the post-brawl interview.
And Brock didn't even punk him out, which is I think really impressive right there too. Either Brock just respects the hell out of Curtis Axel because of son to the Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig and that, or or something. I was just surprised that Lesnar didn't punk out Curtis Axel here, but apparently Lesnar is okay with Curtis Axel helping him out with Punk here.
Yeah,
I guess because they're Paul Heyman guys. I guess that's the whole gimmick there. But
yeah, and then of course the one line with Brock Lesnar got some laughs with go ahead Paul Heyman, say something stupid or something. Yeah, and then of course now Paul Heyman, I guess, set up a match or something between him and CM Punk next week.
Yeah, but I think we already know that.
Maybe it's a
we already
trap.
know. Yeah, we already know that there's a trap set up here. And and I even knew when Punk grabbed Heyman and Axel was out. I'm like, well, Lesnar's supposed to be here tonight. I'm like, cue Brock Lesnar's music any moment now, because but like I said, I do like the angle. It's gonna set up. Hopefully, I guess since Punk has never got his hands really on Heyman yet, I do see Punk maybe beating Lesnar. I know predictions out till next week, but I do see Punk at this stage beating Lesnar.
Yeah.
As of right now, he hasn't really beat him up yet.
That's the thing. That's what makes it likely.
Well, that's the one problem I think with Punk here is that even though he's great on the mic and he can stand up to anybody, the size difference between him and Lesnar is just oh my god.
Yeah.
When he belly to bellied him, the distance Punk threw across the floor was just
right. Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was gonna go into the stands for a second.
Yeah, and then Cole's acting like he's amazed when he's getting the better of Lesnar, and that
Yeah.
Whereas Lesnar's getting the better of CM Punk, and it's just this isn't a surprise.
I am curious though, because I don't know if Punk's gonna be able to. Well, he can get him up for a GTS net, but I'm curious if the Anaconda Vice might be the finish for this match. Yeah, and having Brock Lesnar, a former UFC champion, tap out to a submission hold.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, something tells me that Brock and Punk are best buddies, and because they're both best friends with Paul Heyman, and sometimes that's to get friendships in that. But man, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a hell of a match. Definitely, I think this can easily be Brock Lesnar's best match in his return.
Yeah. I definitely could be. I mean, especially with the worker CM Punk.
Well, yeah, that's it. I think it's because it's Punk, and I think it's because Punk's a little smaller than
and he'll
Cena
be able to throw him around more.
Exactly.
Too,
we might see a lot more of the old Brock Lesnar, German suplexes and belly to bellies, and not a whole lot of UFC, hammer fist and.
I mean that stuff. I don't have a problem.
No. I'm not saying get rid of that. Actually, I think they incorporate that into his moveset, but.
Yeah, I thought that, but definitely, I mean, more balance between that. With the old Brock Lesnar and throwing guys around and stuff like that. Yeah. And I thought it was interesting in that brawl. Of course, there was a chair involved, but, by the end of it, CM Punk had, I guess legitimate chin bleeding.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
I saw,
even Michael Cole notices that on the monitor. Yeah. He goes, oh, my God, commercial break here. This is a PG show, damn.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw look like cuts initially, and then a minute later, the brawl's over and you see blood.
That wasn't blading.
Yeah,
usually blading's on the forehead,
not on the chin. I wonder. And that makes me want to go back and look and wonder what maybe caused that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, when did he ever take a hard shot to the face?
It's I mean, I don't know. It's odd.
I mean, the only thing I could figure is that when he took the F5, he might have smacked his head maybe down the chair or his chin down the chair.
Something.
Maybe that. I mean,
who knows?
Because when he got F5, he went almost face first to knee first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because Punk still is nursing very bad knees at the moment.
Yeah.
which I don't know how smart it is WWE's part to then bring him back as early as they did.
Yeah.
That being said, Brawl needed him back. I mean, I already noticed a very different tempo on Raw with him back than when he was gone, which shows you how important he is to the company still.
Yeah. And and with a guy like Brock Lesnar has been around more as a result.
But at the same time, we don't want to see his knee blow out or quad blow out, and then he has to stay out for 6 months and that. So
turn into a football like John Cena's elbow, like he was pointing out, which it appeared Cena had that wrapped. Which I guess that leads us to the main event match. It looked like he had it wrapped. I didn't notice his elbow, looked like a football, as he said, until that, and then he had it wrapped. So I wonder what happened. If that happened just recently or something. But
actually did.
But he had it wrapped, and he pointed it out earlier in his promo, and that I found that interesting, especially since I didn't hear anything about it elsewhere.
No, I mean on house shows, I didn't hear anything about Cena like getting up and like lipping off or anything.
Yeah.
Or, like holding his shoulder and he.
But yeah, I mean he showed the elbow in the promo too, and I could see what he said. He had like this big lump on his, his elbow.
Well, maybe it's not a wrestling related injury. Maybe it's like him and Nikki were having sex last night, and You never know, Tyler.
Yeah.
Fell off the bed and I said, "Damn it!"
Deleted scene of Total Diva.
Yeah. Deleted scene is in Total Diva.
Yeah.
John Cena hurting himself while having sex with Nikki Bella.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he comes out on Raw, and then he claims that it was something that happened in WWE, in a WWE ring or something.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't hear anything like overseas that happened overseas or anything. But I don't know. We'll see.
So yeah, I mean that's odd, but yeah, I mean. The main event match, until everybody came out, it was 11 o'clock Eastern time here. So I'm thinking, they got like 5 minutes left. So obviously something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That
Well, it always goes over time. It's a live show, and even called 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
The overrun hour.
But I mean, if this is like, 3 of the top guys in the company against the Shield, obviously it would have started much sooner than that. Even taking into account
by the way,
time
did you think it was
over.
Hilarious that Bryan like tied part of his hair back, kind of like?
Yeah.
He still had that out there.
Yeah, he tied it back, and then what would normally happen is it just as the match goes on, it gets untied and everything. But yeah, I mean that was funny, and I mean the finish to the match was predictable. DQ.
I think the Ring on heel turn has now been set in motion now officially.
Yeah,
I mean, he was going to cash it in on a vulnerable John Cena, obviously, and then the Shield had to ruin it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean that made it for a suspenseful ending too, I guess.
But now, I think we're starting to get all these possible finishes for Cena and Bryan planned out.
And that makes it
because now Orton now is really almost acknowledging that he might just cash in at SummerSlam.
And again, we still don't know if he's going to face anybody at SummerSlam. That's the thing. Like, there's been no match set with Orton or along with many other guys too.
Well, another match I thought was going to happen, but apparently is not going to happen because unlike last week, this actually did end in an actual finish.
Yeah.
Granted, controversial finish again, but Dolph Ziggler losing to Big E Langston, which shocked me. But but Caitlyn costing it there. That idiotic Caitlyn out there. Oh yeah, she has to. Yeah, sure. AJ cost her match, and then she has to F it up for Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
What the hell did Ziggler do to her?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll wonder and see what happens with that too going forward.
Yeah,
that could be interesting. Because it seems like Caitlyn's more involved in this. Where in the past she wasn't really involved. So, wonder if there's gonna be some kind of Dolph Ziggler thing with her, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah. So I mean that pretty much summed up Raw.
Yeah.
And.
We got, like I said, one more show left.
We got one more, the go-home show to SummerSlam.
The card looks decent right now. I mean, but I think we got two or three more matches yet to be announced.
Yeah, and a lot of guys, you wonder if they're gonna put RVD in here. Wonder what they're gonna do with Orton and amongst other guys, Ryback. And I guess
any of the mid-carder guys defend their title. Because at this point, there's really no title matches except for the one in WWE.
Yeah, and that's a shame to me because then they'll throw them on the card and they don't feel as important. It's like it's kind of like they put it there last minute and didn't even put thought into it. That could definitely happen.
How do you feel about the Miz hosting SummerSlam?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like all they do is they have him. Yeah, and on SmackDown that he's going to do another Miz TV segment, but that's like all he does nowadays: commentary, Miz TV segments.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's going to host SummerSlam.
I mean,
all right.
Is this really what Miz wants to do now, or did?
Yeah, I mean,
I know that Alex Riley's doing commentary now. In fact,
yeah,
I think last SmackDown he was
also,
commentator. Yeah,
yeah. And speaking of Riley, I guess that brings me to, I almost kind of forgot, like, the whole meme of the week.
Yeah. That
I kind of started a couple weeks ago. This meme isn't, like, quite as funny, but since you brought up Alex Riley,
yeah,
it was, it showed a picture of him on the on commentary, and it's like, why is he on commentary? And that's a good point, because I thought he was good in the ring, and for the few opportunities
if you want to know the supposedly backstage rumors right now of what I would call the rise and fall of Alex Riley. Because at this point, Alex Riley should have won NXT Season 2. The only reason why he didn't win NXT Season 2 is because they made the stupid idea of letting the fans decide the winner. Because who else were the runner-ups? Michael McGillicuddy, who, fine, great wrestler, but he kind of got off a promo. Which is why I'm so glad they finally woke up and said, well, if we give him a manager that can talk on the mic, this might work better. Yeah. And Caval, who the only reason why I won in the first week is because everybody said, oh, this is CM Punk's buddy and Daniel Bryan's buddy, and we got to let this Ring of Honor guy win or TNA guy win. Of course, nobody wanted him to win the company, so he doesn't matter, he wastes his title shot against Ziggler. He actually, I think Caval pretty much went on a backstage rant and said, look, what did I do to piss off anybody? And everybody said, you didn't piss anybody off. It's like, okay, give me a lease. If you're not going to use me, I don't want to work here then.
Yeah.
I think Caval was just missing the point of, the fans might want you, but you got to understand this is WWE. Sometimes if the backstage people don't want you, I mean, not saying that they didn't want him on the roster, but they didn't want him to win, and they didn't want to push him as a main event guy, or even a mid-card guy for that matter. But they had to give him a title shot and all that.
Yeah.
But I thought Alex Riley should have won that. He was the best guy on the mic, best guy in the ring, at the time. And the reason why he did it because he was playing a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and we just don't.
I mean, because
see a whole lot.
That's why I still think NXT Season 1 was the best NXT ever. Because the pros decided, and I think the pros, even though heel or face, all were kind of giving their honest views on the guys pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, how the finale, maybe it was an anticlimactic finale with David Otunga and Wade Barrett. Everybody knew Wade Barrett was going to win.
Yeah.
How even R-Truth's trying to defend his best, and even Wade Regal's like, look, the only thing good for your competitor is that he's married. He's married well, because he's married to Jennifer Hudson, David Otunga, and even that can be be mistaken.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what, but anyway, Alex Riley, of course, was the partner, sidekick.
The Miz.
Yeah, managers. I mean, whatever you want to call it, to the Miz, motivator.
Yeah.
He was the Miz. At the time, company loved him.
Yeah.
Company liked him. He did have. I think he did have a DUI though, and that kind of pissed off the company too. And everybody actually almost thought he was gonna get at least degraded, at least back to development then.
Yeah.
But no, they kept him around because Miz defended the hell out of the guy, saying, "Look, the guy's a good worker. He just made one mistake. It happens to everybody. He's taking it like a pro." So then, he was in, came out to the main event of to WrestleMania, which I'm still trying to find hard to believe that Miz.
The Miz main evented it.
But yeah, that happened. Then they did that stupid over the limit 2-on-1 handicap I Quit match with John Cena. Because let's face it, if you watch that match, it's 20 minutes of Miz and Wiley being the holy hell out of John Cena.
Yeah.
And Cena not giving up. They even asked Miz at one point even asked a John Cena fan, little kid in the crowd, hey, maybe if you say John Cena should quit, he might quit. And the kid's doing one of those, pretty much repeating John Cena lines, never give up, never surrender, and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
And then, then all of a sudden John Cena, I guess, whatever kryptonite he had on him, washed off. And I think he FU'd Wiley through a table, Miz pushed out and actually ran all the way up to the stage. Cena tripped him up and put him in the STF, and Miz not only just said didn't just say I quit. He was saying I quit. So they made him a bitch again pretty much.
Yeah.
So then Riley turns on Miz, and we think Alex Riley's gonna have this great face turn.
Face run. Yeah.
He even beats the Miz at that Capital Punishment pay-per-view. Yeah. Had some ups and downs here, and all of a sudden he's not being featured anymore. People wonder why. Well, the rumor is that John Cena, that's right, the Be a Star John Cena, was doing one of those classic bully moments on the young stars.
Yeah.
And Riley wasn't going to take it even from the company man. And of course, since he broke that sacred oath of standing up for himself, not taking this shit from some guy, he now got, he's now supposedly been, like I said, going on losing streaks, hardly been featured on Raw and all.
Yeah.
And I think now it's just come to the conclusion that maybe I just try to be a commentator now.
Yeah.
He's going to go the Josh Matthews route. Because even Josh Matthews was a wrestler at one point until he realized maybe I should just do commentary. Maybe I can get more TV time that way.
Matt Striker.
So if you want to blame anybody on the fall of Alex Riley, at this moment it's John Cena's fault.
Yeah.
Riley even got asked on his Twitter account one time, is the rumor about Cena bullying you and you staying up and Cena not liking that the reason why you're not being featured? Yeah. And Riley said, well, I wouldn't believe everything you hear on the internet, but I'm not gonna say that happened or did not happen. So based on that logic, I'm gonna say it did happen, but he's not gonna going like a Twitter rant because he wants to keep his job.
Yeah.
But even if he doesn't get featured in his job, he still gets paid.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing with like a lot of like situations like when a guy just seems to.
That's the funny thing about
a lot of times it starts with John Cena, beating him or whatever, and embarrassing somebody.
Yeah, but well, that's the whole thing about the Miz thing now. I mean, when I see Miz now in commentary right next to JBL, the guy who's well documented, bullied the hell out of Miz when he was young in the company and that. I mean, literally berated the guy, saying he was no talent, didn't deserve it, was never going to be winning it, was never going to win a title, was never going to even come close to winning the WWE Championship. Funny thing, he did win the WWE Championship. Yeah. It's now, and I suppose according to Miz, him and JBL are like buddies now. Yeah. And JBL, I think, gives himself credit for that. He thinks that what happened was Miz listened to him.
Yeah.
And that's why Miz has improved so drastically in the ring and that. I guess the Miz, it's that he did it all by himself and he did this all on his own. And he finally carried his own character and that. So, but supposedly they still are not buddies. But it's just funny watching JBL like on Raw right next to the Miz.
Right next to the Miz, yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to be a punishment towards JBL, saying, hey, John, here's this guy that you said had no shot in his business, and at one point this guy main event WrestleMania, and
but
he
now
did everything.
And then now look where he's.
I mean.
Yeah.
But no,
it's unfortunate.
So, but no, that's the story with Alex Riley, supposedly.
Riley. Yeah.
You know what? Good for him. Good for him. Being a commentator now, maybe he can,
Yeah.
Because they do need a replacement for some of these guys in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, you got JBL, Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole, even Michael Cole's getting old.
Yeah. Well,
so these guys aren't going to be here forever.
Yeah. I mean, they're in their 40s. I mean, they could probably be around.
Well, that's even said. JBL did just climb a mountain, so maybe he's in better shape than
he was. Yeah.
But at this point, I feel like actually at this point I feel like it's just the JBL Cole show anyway. And I feel like Jerry Lawler's just there to be there.
Yeah. So
it's sad, but I think
for a while.
I think once they PG'd his character, and once he was never the heel, because at one point the reason why him and Jim Ross was so great was because Jerry Lawler was playing this kind of kiss ass heel pretty much. He always sucked up to Vince McMahon and all that, and he'd also say some of the the weirdest lines. He was come out and say puppies,
right?
And first they turned him face with I guess because he realized well, Jim Ross is taking a lot of being from the McMahons, and I'm not going to defend the McMahons anymore, and that. But then now PG, he can't even say some of his famous lines anymore. So now he's just playing like this random veteran who I guess because he's a veteran, he knows wrestling now.
Yeah, but at this point, it's like impossible for him to be a heel commentator at this point, especially after the whole heart attack last year. But
he turned Michael Cole face.
Yeah. Oh. Essentially, he did. Yeah, because I remember Michael Cole being not just being out of character then, and being himself and handling the end of the show well.
Yeah.
And, essentially they had to inevitably turn Cole face,
which I think was the right move to make.
Yeah.
I liked Cole as a heel to a point, but there was times when I think he. Maybe not. I think somebody in the microphone was yelling at him, saying, "No, you got to be this dicky on commentary." Like this big of a douchebag on commentary.
Yeah.
I mean, he would say so much bad stuff about talent and that. And Cole said, as he would say countless times, that wasn't him. That was, he's supposed to be playing a bad guy in the first place. But it sounds like more of it was guys back. It was probably Vince McMahon yelling in his ear.
Telling him, call this guy, yell loser.
Don't just say Daniel Bryan sucks in the ring. Say he doesn't even deserve to be in the ring.
Yell loser to Michael, to Jerry Lawler, all that kind of stuff.
So yeah,
back in those days. So yeah, of course, in other news, Kurt Angle gets another DUI.
His third one.
Boy.
Good news is though he is supposed to go into rehab.
Yeah.
I don't know when. All he said was company is well. I don't know. He said some statement and it said like, I want to thank my family. I want to thank the company and go, help me through this difficult time in my life right now. And
yeah,
it's but here's the problem though. This is Kurt's third. Did you ever watch the video of him like during his second or first DUI?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I heard talk about it, but
he's on there. And it's like saying, well, the fact that he's like really like trying to say like oh, this part of me being in a DUI and being intoxicated and being an unsafe driver, and it's all hurtful stuff and it's all untrue. I mean, it's like this guy was like Ryan Bonnin and like Alex Rodriguez, being like Alex Rodriguez in the interview in that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's tough for me to feel sorry for Kurt at this stage in his life right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like first he's denying anything, and now he's feeling like, oh, for you guys, I go through a hard time in my life right now. Please be supportive of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I first of all, I think this is proof that he's never going back to WWE. At this point, I am confident. Even if TNA folds next week.
Yeah.
I know Vince is a greedy guy, but I know right now that the PR guys in the company, he's not going back there unless he gets this shit taken care of.
Yeah, right. At least not for some time until
and,
he would be more clean.
And you know what? I'm going back to this whole theory of this is the only reason why Kurt ever went to TNA in the first place. WWE, when they released him back in the day, was it like when they released him originally back in 2006, I believe?
I remember, yeah.
And everybody was wondering why. I think this is why. I think it's because DUI. Because mentally they thought he was burned out.
I remember
they thought he was mentally stressed.
I remember Kurt Angle's statement too, like saying he was burnt out and stuff like that.
I mean, the company really was doing it for the safety.
TNA, yeah.
I mean, and honestly, and I think they even like told me. I think at one point even going to rehab or at least take a year-long break or something. Like, don't even do anything wrestling related. Like, don't just go home. Get your shit together, pretty much. Yeah. Kurt just said, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And, he signed to TNA. He I don't care what...
schedule.
And then you hear Kurt Angle, like, berating the company that made him famous in the first place, WWE and that. Like, he made this story about Vince McMahon saying, like, well, in this company, I live and go metal, and a world title doesn't mean shit in this company. And a cup of coffee. It's like he's made up all these stories about Vince McMahon and that. I mean, and then there's this whole idea of, well, I went to TNA because they have the best young talent, and I think I can turn this company around, and it's like, honestly, I don't even think Kurt even to this day believes that this is a company that's going to ever pass the WWE.
To
me, he went to this company because he knew that they don't really have a drug policy. They really don't punish their talent because, like I said, this is their third DUI, and TNA is finally going to do something about it.
Yeah, WWE. That
this is
fly.
WWE. Vince would have, if Kurt was the world champion, would have had him drop the title, and probably did it in the most unceremonious way possible.
Yeah.
And told him, get your shit together, get it fixed in that, because nobody wants to see another Chris Benoit moment in wrestling on the stage.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel. This is what I'm afraid of with Kurt Angle when he keeps saying he wants to still wrestle in that.
Yeah.
I do not want to see another Chris Benoit moment. And I don't want to see it happen to a great wrestler in Kurt Angle. Because that's the problem with Chris Benoit now. I look at Chris Benoit and I see one of the best technical wrestlers in the business, but I also see a guy that killed his son.
He had so much
wife,
brain damage. And that combined with, steroids and whatever else.
Yeah, whatever else was in his body at the time.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
I think the doctor said, like, he suffered, like dementia and...
Supposedly he said like he at the time of the murder he had the brain of like a 5-year-old pretty much.
Yeah, I also heard like the brain of like an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient. The point was comparable.
He wasn't there when he did this.
Exactly.
And when he did realize what he did, what's the thing? And even when he did realize what he did, and that's probably why he killed himself. Supposedly was that he realized what he had done, and he realized and like I said, and it's kind of funny there too because you watch WrestleMania 20 now. My brother owns it on DVD, and you watch the famous Eddie Guerrero Chris Benoit hug at the end. It's like it used to be one of the saddest moments, and now it's like it's just one of the creepiest moments because at one point his son gets in the ring and hugs him, along with his wife, and it's just like, my God, this is just so weird.
Both these both these guys.
But not that all three of them are dead. You know, he kills these two people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with the whole double murder. It's like, I think that was the whole problem when I heard double murder. I'm like, nah, I can't be. Because I've seen this guy with his son so many times on WP television.
Yeah.
And his wife, I mean, but that's what happened.
Which is why when you break it down, I mean, it's good that WWE is, you know, how then they really stepped up their
that's the thing
policy.
here. WWE stepped up, but TNA.
And concussions, the whole thing.
That's the thing. TNA doesn't have any of that, though.
Right, yeah.
And that's why I feel like some of these guys go. That's the reason why I feel. That's why I really feel bad, like with Kurt right now. He says he's going to rehab. Guess what? And if it's company paid rehab, it's WWE paying for the rehab.
Yeah. And
WWE has this new policy ever since it's been a while. They said we will cover anybody's who wants to go to rehab. We will pay for their rehab. Yeah. Even if they don't even work currently for the company, they have any history of the company. Yeah. They will pay the rehab. Because I don't see TNA right now in financial trouble is paying for his rehab.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does this even show... But what's the thing about TNA at the moment?
Yeah. Though? Yeah, and you wonder, like, in comparison, like, how, like, Kurt Angle's brain could be compared to Chris Benoit's. I mean, you know, who knows?
That's the thing. I mean, I see this guy, and I feel like he's not... Kurt's even sometimes... He's not mentally there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, for me...
he has had his moments.
And here's the thing there, too. They're playing this, like... Well, obviously, this happened... after a double taping, so he will be on next week's Impact. This was still prior to the DUI incident. Yeah. But then the following week it's the live Hardcore Justice special, where Chris Sabin faces Bully Ray in a steel cage match. But the other one is that you have Angle, the main event Mafia, supposedly in a 5-man tag team match against Aces and 8s or Aces and 7s or 6s, whatever the hell you want to call it now, because Doc's gone and Taz isn't even featured on the show anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even know if you can even call me, but suppose it's going to be a 5-man tag, though I just changed it to an 8-man tag at the moment, because I would not put Kurt in the ring at this moment.
Yeah.
But no, it's supposed to be and the gimmick is that whoever gets pinned in the match has to quit TNA.
Huh.
Now,
it's interesting.
Now, maybe that's where you can throw Kurt in and just have him leave and to go for the rehab there. If they're going to do that, just don't have him barely in the ring. Just have him sit on the apron for a little bit. But I would... It's not just Kurt Angle. I mean, remember all the Jeff Hardy crap that's going on in TNA too? Once again, if he was in WWE, the shit would not be happening. Yeah. He would have been fired. He would have been released. It would have been solved in that. Yeah. But... And once again, it shows you how Bush League TNA is. Even they won't even admit that they're Bush League, but they are. They're not a second. I don't know how you can say you're the second best company. And if you are, you're a very distant second right now.
Yeah.
But I guess on a more lighter note, TNA was hyping up this August 1st warning, and pretty much the guy was saying like, I am not a Spike TV employee. I am not a TNA employee. Yeah. I'm my own man. I'm gonna and I have an agenda here, pretty much. So already the rumors were going through who is this guy. Now, the one wrestler that was coming out was Bob Holly. That was one of the popular names. Though I wouldn't call that a big move because Bob Holly's like, I don't know, like in his 50s, I think right probably. Now. I really think Bob Holly's not a good name. I think he's just retired, maybe not. But somebody know about Adam Pearce? He was a former gut check guy. He lost, even though I think he was the best wrestler on that gut check episode. He even teased it on Twitter, August 1st warning, watch out. He actually did release a video on YouTube explaining the August 1st thing. It turns out he was just making fun of the August 1st video. It's actually a very funny video now. It's like he's like on the toilet and he's like saying, it's like, go away! And all that. Yeah. And Adam Pearce is like, yeah, so I could be at the Impact Zone. I just, you can tell I have shit to do. For 2 years being on the toilet. But, no, the name ended up being... former MMA star, current Bellator person, which is why I don't work for Spike TV, because Bellator is on Spike TV. So therefore, you work for Spike TV.
Yeah.
But it is Tito Ortiz, making this TNA's third MMA star, if you include Quentin Rampage Jackson, who's now a part of the Main Event Mafia. And by the way, I saw him throw some of the stupidest wrestling punches in a brawl against Aces and 8s I've ever seen. Then watch him try to throw Devon out of the ring is even more hilarious. So watching this guy supposedly have his first match next week is just going to be like a nightmare. I mean, 2 weeks is going to be a nightmare. But, and King Mo, who I kid you not, they said on commentary when they were hyping up King Mo and him winning a title on his first championship in Bellator, said a two-sport athlete. Even though I've yet to see this guy, and he's been in the company I think for almost a year now, wrestle his first TNA match. So I don't know what Tito's gonna be doing.
Yeah.
A lot of fans have been bitching about it pretty much. Honestly, I kind of saw this coming. Somebody even brought up it's Tito Ortiz because.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I don't blame this on Dixie Carter. I don't even blame this on TNA. This is a Spike TV move here.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Spike is going to cross-promote their first Bellator pay-per-view by having their two top fighters, or as I call, two over-the-hill fighters that used to be good.
Yeah. Because
no offense to Jackson, he's entertaining. I prefer he just go maybe be in like the next Expendables movie because let's face it, he can't do any worse than some of the guys Stallone's already cast already. And Tito Ortiz hasn't been good in years either. But Bellator figures that these guys have. That's the thing too. When Tito Ortiz came out, you could drop a pin, no reaction.
Yeah,
nobody knew either knew who he was or nobody gave a fuck. Pretty much.
I saw a picture posted on No DQ on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And it had like on the top it compared the pictures of when Brock Lesnar returned last year.
Yeah.
It had like different pictures. You know, it had the guy that's in that camouflage shirt and doing the taunt, and other people cheering with the sign. And then at the bottom it had Tito Ortiz reactions, and people were just like standing there like just like kind of staring into space.
Yeah.
One person looking really bored. And, like just everyone just standing there, not even knowing what's like going on.
Well, it's interesting. Brock Lesnar started as a professional wrestler.
Right.
Went to UFC.
Yeah.
Rose pretty fast to the top in UFC, which surprised the hell out of everybody. Because, like I said, he was a professional wrestler back. I mean, amateur wrestler too. Yeah. Won SWA title and everything in Minnesota. Wrestler. But still, impressive. And now he's working at WWE again. And this is the one problem I have here, though. Because I remember when Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
He kind of did the same thing. He would still do his MMA fights and work at TNA and that. And TNA would let him do that. But, and he kept like saying like maybe this could get him a UFC contract, but even Dana White's saying, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, didn't happen.
Dana didn't care what Spike said, but he was not going to cross-promote MMA fighting, real fighting, with a predetermined event.
Outcomes, yeah.
Because first of all, he doesn't want to that's what I feel he's going to have here. So if Rampage Jackson loses to Tito Ortiz in a wrestling match, but in the November Bellator pay-per-view knocks him out in the first round, what does this prove here? Like, who is the better? I mean, like, and second of all, I don't know if Spike realizes there's a difference between wrestling fans and MMA fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both. But I also realize I'm a very unique person, too.
Yeah.
Because I do know the fact that there are MMA people that could really give two shits about professional wrestling.
Yeah, right.
So for them to say this is going to bring up the ratings and everything, if anything, it's going to bring down the ratings of Bellator. Because now they're going to say, does Bellator even take their own fighters seriously? Because now you're going to have them wrestle predetermined like sport then. And then expect us to take them seriously in an actual fight then. Yeah. To me, I just see it as being a nightmare. The only reason why I think TNA went along with it is because I really think TNA is so bad right now and realize they are so in financial trouble that they realize Spike TV could pull the plug on them just like that. Yeah. And if TNA has no TV deal, then TNA is nothing then. Yeah. And I think only WWE, if like USA drops Raw one moment, Fitz could find a backup program in a week probably.
Yeah.
Dixie Carter, good luck trying to find a backup program for TNA. Or at least one that has the amount of channels that Spike covers.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, I feel like they're in a position now where whatever Spike says, they got to go with because they're not in a position right now to argue with Spike.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, I hope somebody like Eric Bischoff is telling Spike this is a bad idea, and it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hurt Bellator, and it's not gonna help us. Yeah. So, but no, I really was disappointed. I would say I was disappointed. I kind of knew it wasn't going to be anybody big. There's no big free agent in professional wrestling right now that currently is teasing, TNA. Like, somebody was even bringing up, like, they bring up names such as Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
They brought up Dave Batista. First of all,
Because,
First of all, let's get Bill Goldberg out of the way. Bill Goldberg has, even though he said that he wants to try to do
There was
one.
a recent
He said that he wants to do one more wrestling match. Because his kids haven't seen him wrestle once.
Yeah, they've been watching. Yeah, he said his kids were like watching him on like the internet, like at YouTube.
Yeah.
Some of his matches,
and they want to see him. They want to see his dad in the ring, at least wrestle one time. I mean, and based on I've looked, Goldberg is still in decent shape. I guess.
They said. Yeah, I mean, he said, from what I've heard, that he's.
But if that's going to happen, it's going to be WWE because even
Bill
Goldberg knows.
Yeah.
TNA, it's WWE. It's different.
Yeah.
You want to look like a star. I mean, look at Rob Van Dam now.
Right.
I get to he's happy. He's a star again.
Yeah.
It's no longer the small impact zone, and I'd call fake fans almost because I almost feel like TNA just starts plants random fans in there.
Sounds like they're in like a middle school gymnasium.
Well, that's the thing too. There, I mean, like, the Impact only had like 1,500 people there.
Yeah.
In an arena that can hold 7,500.
Yeah.
But like I said, the way TNA does it though is they just move everybody up front, and the way they do the camera, so they don't even have to show the whole arena.
Yeah.
But which is what WCW used to do too, to try to cover up their at the time
lack of
fans too. Because it's pretty embarrassing when you have all these tarps around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so. I'm just waiting for them to perform for like 200 people like they did at a house show.
Yeah.
And this is live television, and so it's gonna look ridiculous. But so if Goldberg's coming back for one match, and at this point each year it's gonna be less and less likely. No matter what his kids say, pretty much. At this point, he's gonna have to tell him, "Yeah, well, Daddy's getting old, and sorry, but at least you can tell your kids how great I used to be." And then somebody brought up Dave Batista.
Yeah.
First of all, if Dave Batista is going back to wrestling, and at this point I don't see it happening. I mean, he's going to be in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie with Marvel. He's filming that right now over in London. Yeah. If this movie does well, he'll be getting more movie roles, especially if he does well in the movie. And I'm actually kind of excited because I actually like the comic book character he's playing in this movie too. Drax the Destroyer. So, and he's supposed to be like this big alien in that, and it's gonna. Based on what I've heard, it's gonna be an awesome movie. So Dave Bautista's thinking movies right now. And second of all, if he's coming back, it's gonna be WWE, the company that made him a star, not TNA.
Yeah.
And for some reason, somebody brought up Chris Jericho's name. Even though Jericho has made fun of the company a gazillion billion times, and just pretty much done this, what CM Punk's been doing. I watch it occasionally. It's not great right now, pretty much the product. But I really hope they don't go out of business because we really do need competition so desperately in our industry right now. So, like usual, we wish these guys would be WCW and eventually rise in the ratings, but they even know right now,
but
not this crap being put on TV.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked, but I think the people who were just morons.
Yeah.
When you bring up those two names, you clearly are not thinking. But no, I just brought that up. So that was the TNA news for today.
Yeah.
Once again, not good news.
Not great. Yeah.
But at least it's no releases. Though I am curious how many people got fired so Tito Ortiz could sign a deal with the company.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, he's not doing this for free.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I guess that's going to wrap it up here on the Great Wrestling Debate.
Yeah.
This first August edition.
Yep.
As we get closer to SummerSlam.
Next week, SummerSlam predictions.
Yep.
I almost said Summerfest.
As we have the...
I almost pulled a Jeremy Piven for a second.
Yeah. As we'll have the go-home edition of Raw, and then I guess from there we'll make our predictions.
Yep.
And
so this is
thoughts, hopes of what goes down on SummerSlam.
Yep. So this is Tyler Wayne signing off.
Signing off.